All right, everybody. Welcome to Bookish Daddy. That is still super weird to say. I've been debating changing it to Bookish Dad. Uh, Make a comment below if you think that I should, if Bookish Daddy's a little over the top. It's every time I say it, it just sounds ridiculous. Today I've got a fun episode. We are going to do a mini haul, a February wrap up, and then a March TBR. And then at the end, actually, my kids put together a little jar of questions they wanted to ask me. I haven't looked through them, so I'm curious and excited to see what they wanted to know about books, and that'll pretty much be the video. To start this off, like always, thank you so much for all the comments, the likes, the subscriptions. If you're enjoying the content, continue to watch. Make sure you're hitting the subscribe button. It really helps. And make sure you're commenting because it does help the algorithms too. And I appreciate everything. It's been amazing, the outreach I'm getting. I think we're up to like 63 followers, which is awesome. Let's keep it up, and I'll get into this. So for the mini haul, I'll just go one by one. The first book I got this month or last month was Butcher and Blackbird, and this is by Bryn Weaver. I have never read any of their work. This sounds outrageous, is why I bought it. I mean, it's it is about, so it's a dark romance, and the gist of it is that it is two serial killers, a guy and a girl, that get into a competition killing other serial killers, and it's supposed to be a comedy as well. So I mean, I am super excited about this book. It sounds really exciting and like something I've never read before. So I'm very curious about it. Next, we have God Killer. And this one is by Hannah Kaner. I think that's how you'd say that. This one I have been looking forward to for a while. I finally got around to buying it. And actually, last night I started it. 2 pages in, and it is insane. So basically, just a quick little overview. It's about uh, all the gods of this time period and their worshippers all kind of battling is what I'm getting so far. It is a fantasy, and I don't think there's anything other than that. I just think it's a fantasy with a lot of action. So I'm excited about this one too. Next, we have Heartless Hunter. This one I got mainly for the cover. It's a beautiful cover. It's by Kristen Cicerelli. Cicerelli. Sorry if I mispronounced that. And this one is a YA fantasy, and I think it's got romance in it. Yeah, fantasy romance. And it is about a witch and a witch hunter uh, falling in love, or their like cat and mouse chase is kind of like the theme of it. So this one, I'm not gonna lie, I got because the cover was super pretty, and I've been seeing a lot of people giving it very high ratings. Uh, I'm very excited about this one. The top of it says her deadliest enemy or her greatest love. That's kind of like the vibe I'm guessing it gives off. The next one I got last month is The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. So this is, and I'll just say the last book I got was The Hunger of the Gods. This is the second one in the series. I have never read any of John Gwynne's work. A lot of people have like highly recommended it, especially for me, saying that it'd be like right up my alley because I like Brandon Sanderson and R.A. Salvatore and a lot of like intricate world builders. He did the Malice series, which I also got a couple months ago that I haven't started yet. So I'm excited about this. From what I gather, this is about like the gods of this time period. I think they're all Nordic, and kind of their story of how they fell and what became of them. But I'll be able to tell you more once I actually delve into them and read them. It has insane reviews everywhere, and again, this is another one of those. I love the covers. As soon as I saw them, I was like, "Oh, I got to buy that. That's right up my alley." So, and the other one, like I said, is Hunger of the Gods. It's got a wolf instead of a dragon. And that's pretty much it for. It's just a mini haul. That's all I bought last month. Now we are going to get into the February wrap up and what I read last month and what my thoughts were on them. So this first book I read was Queen of Shadows and then Tower of Dawn, which are both part of the Throne of Glass series. I've got plenty of videos on those, so I wasn't going to spend much time on them. I believe I gave both of those 5 stars. If not, 4.5 is probably the lowest I would have gone. If you want to know more in depth on that, I have a couple videos up of it. They're insanely good, and I'm going to get to the tandem next. So I'll get into the one I needed to like dial down the vibes for a little bit after I read these. So next, I got into Bride. And this is by Ali Hazelwood. It's the first book I've ever read of hers. And to be honest, it's the only paranormal romance I've ever read. And it was amazing. I gave it 4.5 stars. It was super close to 5 stars. I'll tell you why in just a second. This was a super, super cozy book. It is about a vampire and a werewolf. And the vibe it gives off is, so it does have spice or smut. My wife gave it 3 stars. I think I gave it 2 as far as like smut goes, or little chili peppers, however you want to say it. The smut in this, if you're just wanting to hear the words like spicy words, this is not for you. This is a lot more in depth and in detail, and actually has some spice to it. So if you're looking for anything like lighthearted, this wouldn't be it. But I thought that the balance was very well between smut and the character development, and just the way that she built vampires, werewolves, and humans is a lot different than a lot of worlds that I've read about. I thought that was super intriguing. It's been very rainy and cloudy here, so I thought that that was kind of the vibe. Like if you liked Twilight but wanted it to be a little more adult, like a little more smutty, this would be perfect for you. Uh, so yeah, that's it. It's a paranormal romance with lots of smut in it. I loved it. I loved that about it. I loved the spice in it, and I loved how werewolves and vampires were created, and that were a little bit different than most that I've read about, and I like that a lot. Like I said, I gave this one 4.5 stars. Oh, I took away half a star. I won't go into detail, but one of the spice scenes is like really weird, and then it never like explains why what happened, and it was just, I don't know. It was enough for me to take half a star. I was like, that's weird, but yeah. So be warned, some of the spice scenes are kind of weird, different. And then to make the vibes even cozier, I got into Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. I am a huge Brandon Sanderson fan. Uh, this was created for his wife and was supposed to be like a Princess Bride vibe. It is, from what I gather, it's a YA fantasy. Pretty low stakes. As far as like spice level, I'd give it a 0. This was just 100% a whimsical, cute read. Like it did have like stakes in it, but nothing crazy. It was super funny, cute. The world building was like very whimsical and Dr. Seussy. It was phenomenal. I gave this book 5 stars. I think my wife gave it 5 stars too. We both loved it. And like I said, I'm a huge Brandon Sanderson fan. This was something I was not expecting when I read it. It's very different than the books of his I have read, but I could not recommend this book more. It's definitely a reread, something that anytime I want to feel cozy and like happy, it is something that I would pick up. The world in it is very intricate, interesting, and like fascinating. I cannot recommend this book enough. It was probably my favorite book I've read this past year. Uh, Definitely in my top 3 or 4 books of all time. So if you're wanting like a good cozy vibe, this one, or even like a pirate vibe, I would say if you like oceans and pirates, or like things that are like out of the norm, this, you need to read this. It was so good, and it's so cute because he wrote it for his wife, and it's just such a good book. And those are the 4 books I read. All right. So my March TBR is, like I said, God Killers. That's the one I started last night. Uh, this one, I got into it a little bit last night, and it is super intense already. I don't know if my heart's ready for it. It is one of those books that, like, first page of the book, it got into the action, and I don't get the vibe that it's gonna like let up. I think that's how it's gonna be beginning to end. Uh, so that's the one I'm gonna read first. Next was also in my beginning of the video, and it is Butcher and Blackbird. I'm gonna use it as like a comedy break after this book, and then once I finish this, my March TBR should end up with Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn behind me. Again, I'm not going to pull them out. Sarah J. Maas Fill in the Glass series, I've been going over a lot. If you're that far in the series, you know the books. I'll be doing a tandem read with them. My wife was sweet enough to go through and tab them for me because she's already read them. And that'll be the huge read for the month. I feel like that's going to take me a while to get through those 2 books. And this will kind of be like my break between God Killer and Sarah J. Maas destroying my heart and my feelers. This one seems like it'll be, yeah, it's about serial killers. It's supposed to be dark, but it's also supposed to be romantic and comedy. So I'm going to use this as my like in between books. And that'll be it for my March TBR. Just 4 books for now. We're in the middle of a move, so things are really hectic. Hopefully next month I'll be able to read 5, 6, maybe even 7 books. Now to get into my daughter's little jar they created. I have no idea what's in this, so we'll find out together and see what kind of questions they're wanting to ask me. So the first one says, what's the most sad book? And I'll show you how it kind of looks. Oh. So it's super cute. What is the most sad book? That is a good question. Probably the most sad I have been while reading a book would be the last book I read in the R.A. Salvatore book. It is not, or Legend of Dritz, it is not the last book he ever wrote. It's actually packed in a box, so I can't pull it out. But it is along the lines of where R.A. Salvatore changed publishers and changed his writing style. And he kind of just starts killing off characters. And it was very upsetting because I was like 15 to 20 books into a series that I loved, and his writing style changed, and the characters just started dying off, and it was super depressing. But I can't even recall which book it was in the series. I'll have to pull that up and I'll throw it at the bottom at the end of the video. But that would be the saddest book I think I've read. Let's see what this next one says. What's a book that gives you the butterflies? That's a good one. A book that gives me the butterflies. I'll have to say Tress of the Emerald Sea. I cannot say how much I love that book. It was super sweet, very whimsical, and you could just tell he like poured his heart out to his wife in it, and just the way he wrote it was it gives me goosebumps just talking about it. It was an insanely good book. I would say that one for sure gave me butterflies. Let's read another one of these. These are cute. What cover would match your outfit? So unique, little heathens. What cover would match my outfit fit right now? I would say Sarah J. Maas's A Court of Silver Flames. I guess I could grab it. This is the book I would say matches my outfit. It's one of the different editions or exclusive editions of A Court of Silver Flames, which is my favorite ACOTAR book. Though some people disagree with me on that, a lot of people didn't like it. I loved it. I thought it was phenomenal. I'll read another one. What's a book that's just like your life? Boy, that is a question I didn't expect. A book that is just like your life. Um, that is a tough one. I think I'm going to have the same answer, and that's just because this is off the top of my head. A Court of Silver Flames. Of course, there's no fantasy or craziness in my life like that, but there is a lot of PTSD. There is a lot of dealing with your emotions. Nesta in this one actually is kind of naturally a jerk or not the nicest person and has to battle with that internally and mentally and goes through a lot in this book. And this book has a lot to deal with taking the wrong and right paths of dealing with your emotions and things that have happened in your past. Uh, yeah, so I would say that one. That's probably not the answer my daughters were looking for, but that's the one I'll give. And I'll do one more of these, and then I'll let y'all get out of here, just because these are cute. This one says, "What's the kiddish book you read?" I'm assuming she means, what is the most kiddish book I have read? The most kiddish book I have read. I mean, when I was a kid, I read lots of books. As an adult, I would say the most kiddish book I've read would be, hmm, maybe Harry Potter. Harry Potter's kind of childlike, I would think, especially the first one. I mean, it's kind of intense, but as far as what I read, that's the most kiddish book I can think of. I'm gonna do one more. That one was a difficult one. What's your favorite romance ever? My favorite romance ever. Favorite romance ever. So I don't have much to go off on this one because I don't read a lot of romance, but I'm going to say Bride, which is a book I have already shown a couple times this video, and it seems like I'm hitting the same books over and over again, but Bride was phenomenal. I don't read much romance, and this was kind of my first delve into it. So, Allie Hazelwood, congratulations! Your books will be what I'll be picking up to start delving into the romance side of reading. And yeah, this would probably be my favorite romance. It's not the only one I've ever read, but it is by far my favorite. It's not the only one I've ever read, but it's a very select few that I have read. And this was the amount of spice and uh, the amount and the level of spice in this was perfect. I thought so. I thought that it was right up my alley. So this is what I'm going to kind of try and keep my romance reading to. Maybe I'm wanting to delve into dark romance too, but paranormal fantasy romance, Bride, is what I'll say is my favorite. That'll do it for this video. Thank you all for watching. I hope it was a good video. This was my first TBR and my first wrap up and my first mini book haul and first time reading from the jar. A lot of first in this video, so that's a good thing. And I'm going to try and do this every month. So that's something exciting I'll be bringing to the channel. If there's anything you like or dislike in this video, just drop it in the comments. I would love to get your feedback, and I'll do my best to adhere to it. Uh, I have no problem with critique and especially helpful criticism or criticism. I mean, if you want to throw some criticism, go ahead. Y'all have a wonderful week and a wonderful day, and I'll see y'all next week. Or, yeah, next week.